bigger boat. What's wrong with the boat I got?
We need a bigger boat.
Bigger boat for what?
Can we leave our dog?
We got Janet's boat. Just move some stuff over to her boat. Move some stuff to Janet's boat.
Janet needed a walker. Janet thought we needed to walk with it. I thought. Sorry, I thought.
Looks like we're home.
Huh?
Looks like we're home.
Excuse me, do you have any bread? We're going boat to boat here. Look, no shopping needed.
Remember, your boat is equal to a tent. What's it called that? Yeah, it's going to be a tent camping. All right.
That's very hard.
Let's go all the way down, I guess. No? Mine's too heavy. I gotta go all the way down.
Martin will carry it.
We got the Ketchikan just in time for monsoon season. And we brought Noah's Ark.
You can do that. Well, you gotta make sure you loop it there.
You're so funny. Thanks, Dad.
That gets you wet.
Yes.
You'll dry off.
My pant leg.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing, John? Where are you going? You gotta hold it. Alright. I think it's down there, John. Figure out what I'm gonna. Melissa,
What?
you're gonna have to go somewhere. We're gonna have to move you off the boat so I can put all these groceries down your bed.
I can move to Janet.
Janet's is full, honey. She said she don't have room for you.
Put you on the roof rack.
I think we brought the tent.
No.
So we are leaving Ketchikan. We got there across the Dixon Saturday morning. It was an awesome crossing. So we actually, once we came across Dixon, did wide open throttle across there, and left our dock in Prince Rupert at 0500 hours. And we were across the Dixon by 7 a.m. And right when I got to about parallel with Foggy Bay, then I was like, I don't need to get to Ketchikan that early, so we went and did 6 knots from Foggy Bay to Ketchikan. The clock rolls back an hour, so really it was 7 o'clock, but actually I made it 6 o'clock. So we rolled into Ketchikan around 11-ish after slow boat for several hours. I went through customs. We did that with their CBP roll map on the boat. I just had the Lemon Drop pull up alongside us, and she connected wirelessly to my boat router, and we got our clearances and approval and all that stuff underway. Didn't have to touch a dock. Ketchikan was interesting. So here's the scoop on Ketchikan. It's basically like a municipality. It's like a city dock. It's not a resort. There's not a whole lot there. We stayed at Bar Harbor South. I'm actually glad we did. The city dock is a lot busier because all the cruise ships come in. And there was a cruise ship there every day. We were in Ketchikan. We were there from Saturday through today, which is Thursday morning we're leaving. All the local shops and stuff have a list of how many passengers are on, and it's anywhere from 7,000 to like 10,000 something people. So it just packs downtown. We didn't even go to downtown. We'll hit that on the way back. But more importantly, we stayed at the dock for, what's that, 4 days? And it poured down rain. When we landed, I mean, it was raining. And Ketchikan is the third wettest city in all of the U.S. And the only other two cities that get more rain than Ketchikan is Yakutat and Whittier, which are both Alaska cities as well. It's almost 12 feet a year that Ketchikan gets. So anyhow, we landed around 11 o'clock in Ketchikan dock. It was pouring.
Landed
It was
like an
pouring.
airplane.
I know it was pouring down rain. And then and I thought that was wet, but no. The next day was like a torrential downpour the entire day. I'll give you some. Usually, like in Seattle when it rains, my solar output will drop to like 500 watt hours. I was at 370 that day at Ketchikan. That rain. Oh my God, it was so much water. So we were wet, we were soggy, we were burning through kerosene. Lemon Drop's heater stopped working, so she thought she was out of fuel. So she went out in the torrential downpour, put another gallon in there, didn't fix it. I came over, put another gallon in, didn't fix it. So we thought she was out of fuel. Turns out that she actually had water in the tank, and we're assuming the water came in when she went to add more fuel to it. So it's just anyway, to get the fuel out of the lines, that was a 4-hour endeavor to pop the lines and drain the water. Water will settle in the bottom of the tank, so you get it off there. But if there's water in the tank, which was confirmed by by draining the bottom of the tank off the fuel pump, that's easy to get to. It's right underneath the sink. But that meant the line that went from the fuel pump all the way through the boat to the heater had to be disconnected to get the water out of that line too. So that made me take our microwave out, crawl underneath where our heater is. The fuel line's on the back side of the heater. You can't see it, so you're working on by feel, basically blindfolded. Pop the line off there, run the fuel pump to push water through it. The Webasto heater, after 2 attempts, will air out and it won't restart. So then you have to pull the fuses and wait 30 seconds to reset it. So anyway, 4 hours later, that got clean fuel in there, and her heater's back to working again. So that was good. Thought I was out of the woodwork there. Then I did some work from the boat. That's why we wanted to stay in Ketchikan a couple extra days. Was I just needed to work my day job up there. So put Starlink out. Starlink was super fast. I was on Zoom calls and stuff like that. LTE actually worked too. It was a bit sluggish when the cruise ships are in town because all those cell phones come in and max the towers out. When the cruise ships are not in town, the cell phone service was pretty fast. The thing I liked about Bar Harbor, we were on the south dock, is it's open moorage. They actually have designated open moorage slips. You don't even call and talk to the harbor master. You don't say, "What's my slip assignment?" They don't even take reservations. You just pull in, first come, first serve. This is what I'm talking about right here. Flat water. Water's not too stressed.
Not too bad. Calming down.
Puts the corky out. Where we're at. Here's our course. There's Ketchikan right there. We're going to come all the way up here around Wrangell Island. We're going to go into Wrangell Narrows and we're going to land in Petersburg. That's the plan of the day. Got 81 miles to go.
How many more?
81.
Out of 110?
Yep. It's flat water though. We're actually going to fuel efficiency's back to 1.2 where I like it to be. We should get to Wrangell Narrows right at just after the tide turns, so that way we can leverage some of the current pushing us forward. And we're going to slow boat to Wrangell Narrows today, take our time. We're on our way cruising from Ketchikan to Wrangell Narrows and then Petersburg.
He's better now.
Check out that flat water in those mountains.
So much. Wow. Stuff? Look at Melissa. She looks like canary. Dying kisses. Wake her up. And wait.
Our corgi is mostly deaf, so she can't hear anything. Boat just puts her right to sleep.
She's just upset we quit talking to her.
She probably just thinks we all just stopped talking to her. I'm glad we left early this morning because we were about 10 knots of wind, so it was like some 1 foot chop. But we came up around the corner because we're further north than where the wind is, so it actually died down again. Now we got flat water. Way more comfortable ride. One of the other things that's been different for me up here, cruising in Southeast Alaska, is everything is so big. It's like vast. So usually in my chart plotter, right, I always have a 2/3, 1/3 split screen, and the left-hand side is the 1/3, and that's my danger zone. So I usually would keep that a nautical mile or less, and then the 2/3 on the right side of the screen is the zoom out, and that's usually it's usually 6 nautical miles to 1, somewhere in that range. Usually I run around 3 or 4 nautical miles. Up here, I'm doing 12 nautical miles on my wide view and 2 nautical miles on my danger zone. That's just so I can see the land, you know, and stuff, and see the course that we are, just because we're traveling such long distances and everything is so big up here. Like we got a fishing trawler up here. We are approaching the south end of Wrangell Narrows, and I could not have timed this any better. Let me show you this. So Wrangell Narrows, if you time it right, you catch it right when the current goes in. You can ride the current to the halfway point, and then the tide will change, and then you can ride the current from the halfway point back out. The problem with doing that is you probably run into Petersburg with like 3 knots of current through the marina, make it challenging to dock. So I really don't want a lot of current going into Petersburg, so we have a lot of time to burn today. But check this out. See, that shows up on my phone. That is where we're at right now at Wrangell's in the current, and it is just changing. Yeah, so we did really good timing this. So we're about 3 miles out of the channel. I thought once I'm in the channel, I'm gonna have to pay a lot of attention so I don't run aground. It's pretty narrow. It can be busy with commercial traffic and stuff, lots of buoys. Definitely chart a course to go through there or you'll get confused with the buoys. So last night I went and put a course through it, so all I gotta do is pay attention. But the course isn't good enough to do autopilot through it. I'll have to manually drive and just do a lot of heading holds and a lot of turns. So we're out here in open water. Check this out. That's what we got over there. I'll show you the port side of the boat. So we figured just do heading hold. We're 3 miles out, and it was time to make some lunch, eat some sandwiches.
Look, this thinks it's his.
Nuka's hungry too, but it's not his dinner time yet.
It's not your time.
And we are the only 2 boats here. I have not seen another boat in several hours, actually.
We passed the cruise ships.
And the cruise ships were close to Ketchikan. We ran, and then there was
A couple of trawlers, a fishing boat.
yeah, trawlers, a couple trawlers and a fishing
Some
boat.
dolphins.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's been pretty barren out here. Radio traffic's actually been really quiet too. By the time we're done with lunch, we should be at the mouth of Wrangell's right at the time when that current changes. And we're going to slow boat through Wrangell's and spend the rest of the afternoon going through there. We did 25 knots from Ketchikan, pretty much all the way up here. And we had pretty flat water. It was glassy, no ripples in some areas. Other areas, a little bit of, I'd call it like a half a foot chop maybe. But yeah, no waves. My windows did not get wet at all today. Really thankful about that. So the top of the boat stayed dry. Time to weigh the anchor. See how heavy this thing is. What's my depth? What's my depth? Okay. Just broke right there. Going home with some mud. Just got to Petersburg, now it's time to go help Janet dock. Incoming!
Oh, I wonder if there's someplace to eat by here. I wonder if there's someplace close to eat by here since it's...
It's called DoorDash.
Do they work here?
I have DoorDash delivered down here to the dock.
If they work, I would do it. From Page.
Remember drop. For insurance purposes. We are in Petersburg, Alaska. We had a really fun run. Fantastic cruise from Ketchikan to Petersburg. So here's what I did. All right, we left Ketchikan at 0700 in the morning. Lines off dock. We had to go to the fuel dock to get gas. So we knew that would take a little bit extra time. And also had to hit the sand pump out. I had an issue with my Blackwater tank. That's for another. Tear the whole boat apart to get to the vent. But we'll go into that in another episode. So leave 7 o'clock. We're at the fuel pump out. get the gas stock. So we're probably underway 7:45. We slow boated out of there. There was a whale off in the distance. We were heading north. The whale was heading south. So we didn't get any good footage of that, and we're just kind of passing by. But there was a whole bunch of dolphins and stuff that was kind of cool. A couple cruise ships came in. The one through, God, it must have been a good 5-foot wake. That was the only wave we saw the whole day, was from that cruise ship. So, but I was looking at the current. And the current through Wrangell Narrows in Petersburg is pretty important. There's current tables and there's tide tables. Tide is your height, current is the speed, and they're not always the same. Like, don't assume that high tide means slack, current. They don't always align. Depends on the waterway and stuff, right? So I always consider them both to be totally different. I just look at them separately. Petersburg's actually got 3 current stations right out in front, and then it's also got a tide station as well to look at. So I paid a lot of attention to currents yesterday on our trip up from Ketchikan. So we cruised about 25 knots. I had very good seas. I didn't see a wave one the whole day. Flat seas. So we did basically 25 to 27 knots from Ketchikan all the way up to the south entrance into Wrangell's Narrow. And I was watching the clock and the speed and the time. It was slack before flood at the south end of Wrangell's Narrows at 11:30. That was important. And we got there right on time. So I got about 3-4 miles before the entrance, and it's all open water and stuff there. So I was like, hey, let's slow down. Instead of doing 25 knots, we did 5 and made lunch, because once you get in the Narrows, you got to pay attention, and stuff. You can't be really distracted. So had lunch just before we went into the Narrows. And my whole intention was to slow boat through the Narrows. It is pretty narrow. It's like a half a mile, 3/4 mile wide. You go through there. Lots of buoys. To navigate through there, I highly recommend you spend the time and plot your course, so that when you go into the Narrows, you're following your course through the buoys. The buoys can sometimes confuse you because there's islands where you could go on either side of them, and stuff. And it is red right return when you're going from south to north. So I spent the whole day red right return. Keep the red buoys on the right, green buoys on the left. Navigate through there. And because we got to the south entrance at slack before flood, right as the tide turned, that meant I'd be riding an incoming tide. So I'd have the tide pushing me. So we spent the whole afternoon literally channel surfing. I started seeing 4 miles per gallon, 5 miles per gallon, 6 miles per gallon. I have screenshots of all of this. I peaked at 8.4 miles per gallon. That's 8 miles an hour at 0.9 gallons per hour is what the Yamaha display. Janet on Lemon Drop said she saw 10 miles per gallon. We couldn't slow the boat down enough. It was pushing us through there so fast. And I was watching the timing for arrival into Petersburg. Petersburg is notorious for having a lot of current run through the marina, right? And the timing for us with the day we're coming in, which was yesterday, we would have landed in Petersburg with about 5 knots of current. And I was like, no thank you. I'm not docking at the fuel dock and in a slip with 5 knots of current. I didn't want 3 knots of current coming through, right? So I was looking on the Narrows, and there's a couple places on there you can pull over the side of the road, and we were about 8 nautical miles outside of Petersburg, and there was a nice little cove / anchorage we pulled into, and we dropped the hook and waited several hours. Just sat there and enjoyed the hook, and we swung around a little bit and stuff and waited for the current to slow down. And then I timed it for when we would pull the anchor and then motor the last 8 miles. And we did that on plane, but I was cruising, here and again, I popped up on plane and I set the speed of the throttles so that my arrival time at the fuel dock would have been right at 5:30. Fuel dock closed at 6. We called to find out when they closed because we wanted to get gas before we hit our slip. And slack in the marina was right at 6 o'clock. So I wanted to be as close to 6 as possible for both the fuel dock and the marina. And it worked out perfect, right? We ended up docking at the fuel dock with a little less than 2 knots of current. A little bumpy, but not too bad. And the fuel dock was easy to get to. And then from there, pulled into, we made the phone call to the harbor master from the fuel dock to get our slip assignments and stuff. Petersburg is definitely a town with a fishing problem, which is freaking awesome. I really like Petersburg. Very friendly here. It's all commercial fishing stuff all over on the boats. We're actually, the slips they give us were hot berthing. You know, it's a fishing boat that's out, you know,
we're
fishing.
in North Harbor.
Yeah, we're in the North Harbor. Very cute town. Easy walk to everything. I mean, Main Street's just right up the brow. There he is. It's got a laundromat. There,
We did laundry. Hit the grocery store.
Yep.
Gift shops.
There's a bar. There's a couple outdoor restaurants and stuff. Yeah, pretty decent. Really liked it here. So, the key thing with Wrangell Narrows, lots of buoys. I didn't see a lot of commercial craft. In fact, really the only other kind of boat traffic I ran into was more recreational fishermen out there in, you know, 18, 20-foot boats. There was a couple fishing boats, one right at the entrance, I remember, but I didn't have any gill netters or anything like that. So it was a really easy day, and here and again, we went through Wrangell Narrows as slow as we possibly could go, and the current push, I bet you I burnt less than 4 gallons of gas to go do the whole 20 miles through there. And it was just mostly probably a little bit above idle, the way that current was pushing us. But it was a comfortable cruise. It wasn't, you know, for one time, you know, Janet goes and sends me a message, and she gets me on the radio that her autopilot for heading hold no longer would work because we were going too slow, that the autopilot didn't have enough water in the control surfaces for it to be able to maintain course. But still, she could steer and all that. I mean, wasn't any issues there. But yeah, when that was right around when I was seeing, you know, over 8 miles per gallon, she was seeing 10 miles per gallon, you know, on there. And I was like, yeah, we need to pull over and wait so that we just don't pull into Petersburg too soon. You know, but you know, easy docking and slack current, but just pay attention to that in Petersburg. So, and highly recommend, if you've never been to Petersburg, I've never been. Stop at Petersburg. This is cool.
It's a fun little community.
Fun little community.
Lots of souvenir shops, right, Melissa?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and so we went fishing today, and we caught our limit. Can we show them where our limit was?
Well, here is our halibut limit. In the freezer.
Check this out. So I was really bummed that I missed shrimp season down in San Juan's, but they got fresh spot prawns right up at the seafood on the dock.
So we got our
there.
spot prawn limit.
Yep.
Where's our salmon limit?
And then we got salmon too. Let's do the coho.
It's in the freezer.
And we got a coho.
There's our salmon limit.
So we're eating good tonight. And then I went up and talked to the harbor master. I went up and talked to the harbor master, and he told me what spots to go up here and spot prawn as well. So next time I come up here, I'll bring my gear, and we'll go do some shrimping. All right, and thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed watching this video, click the screen to watch another.